To help with your migration to Jetpack Compose, the framework contains two classes, the ComposeView and the AbstractComposeView. Both of these allow you to use composables directly inside of your existing Android UI toolkit layouts. The ComposeView can be placed directly into an existing layout and used to compose your UI, directly from the hosting Android class. On the other hand, the AbstractComposeView needs to be extended from by your custom view class, which can then in turn be used to contain any composable UI and its logic before being hosted inside of an Android class. With these two different options available, we will sometimes be in a position where we need to think about which one is best for a given scenario. In a lot of cases, we might want to simply take a composable and display it inside of an existing Android class. In these scenarios, it's likely that the ComposeView will satisfy our requirements. While the previous snippets are simple examples like this, there are likely to be cases where we are working with more complex views that may contain many mutable properties or need to hold internal logic. To begin with, the ComposeView does not allow us to add any internal properties or logic for a composable, other than what might be hosted inside of composables that are being composed inside of the ComposeView. While we could configure and maintain any of these properties as state or as part of the Android class that is using the ComposeView, you might not be in a position to support that, and there could be a lot of code duplication for composables that need more customization. This could easily start to bloat our existing Android classes. There may also be some cases where it makes more sense for that state to be tied to the composable, rather than at a global or screen level. Extending from the AbstractComposeView allows us to alleviate these concerns by giving us a place to hold these properties and have more control over the composable that we are providing. Alongside this, the AbstractComposeView also eases the sharing of composables between both Android classes and composable UI. While we could share a composable function between a ComposeView and composable UI, the AbstractComposeView can help to simplify the reuse of composables between the Android UI toolkit and composables. For example, we may have a new feature that adds a shiny new composable to our design system. However, we also need to use that new component inside of other existing parts of our app. While the ComposeView could be used to achieve this, the details we've previously mentioned mean that this could get a little complex. We would need to use our custom composable multiple times inside of multiple compose views to the point where we need some form of reuse to help smoothen our migration. To resolve this, we can split out our composable provided by the content function into a separate composable function, helping to promote reuse both in our custom view and in our composable UI. At this point, you might still be wondering whether you should use the ComposeView or the AbstractComposeView. While the approach to implementation here would really depend on the scenario that we are applying these to, we can follow some general guidelines to help us make this decision. The ComposeView is great for scenarios when we need to switch out existing views for composables, such as custom views, or we need to house composables for the layout of a parent class, such as view holders or fragments. The AbstractComposeView is great for when we need to promote reuse of composables between composable UI and the Android UI toolkit. It also helps to abstract configurable information for a component, helping to keep a clear line between composable UI and the Android UI toolkit within existing classes. If you come to using these migration tools and you're still unsure, my advice would be to start with the ComposeView. Once you've placed the composable UI inside of an existing Android layout, you can then evaluate how these changes feel in your codebase. This allows you to avoid over-optimizing and avoid over-abstracting your code where it may not be needed, keeping the composable interop code as simple as it needs to be. If things start to feel a little complex or bloated, or you get to the point where you need to reuse composables, then at that point, the AbstractComposeView would be a good substitute. Regardless of the view you use, these both allow you to add composables directly into the existing Android layout classes so that you can incrementally adopt Compose into your projects. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and be sure to check out other Compose content on the Compose Academy website.